beginning of last episode, by the way. And like I realized when I started talking, I sounded so depressed.
We're live. Hey guys, TazManiaAhmed and welcome to episode 9 of Tmacast. We're back here again with Mr. Jubba, DM, and our favourite rapper, DarkStarGraver. So how's everyone been this week then, boys?
Good. Yo, Derek, I found my, what's it called? My vest. Hold on.
Oh, your Champions Don't Give Up vest, yeah? We're obviously promoting the merch here today as well, so if you haven't go buy it.
This is the only reason we're doing a podcast, to get sponsorship money eventually, so we can get off the benefits.
Yeah, someone that is not on benefits is our boy Dark, so we can see that he's upgraded his studio in 1 week. He's got headphones, he's got
yes!
Van Gogh painting.
Damn.
See that 2 mil.
I'm actually not wearing mine. Mine was in the wardrobe actually.
Yeah, because I saw you wearing a vest and that reminded me.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's
Dad,
cool.
I think this more importantly though, you're getting thick. You're looking good, man.
Jeez, there we go.
Champions Don't Give Up, mate.
There you go.
Hey, should I put mine on then? Should I put mine on?
Do it.
Do it, alright.
We got a fashion parade going on here exclusively.
Week in Portsmouth Fashion Week.
We need to start this out for an ad promo. You know, like them M&S ads, old school.
Yeah. Thing is, where's our vest? Is this vest still on sale?
Do you know what? I need to check that because it's all on Teespring. It's all on Teespring.
Eric, is this vest still on sale?
He's putting his earpieces in. Did you hear that, Tarek?
No, I didn't hear.
Is this vest still on sale?
We currently have a promotion going on, so if you use TMA10, you can get 10% off your purchase. So
Nice.
use the discount code. This is another CDG one. Dan's already got another one on, so we ref.
We need to go fast. Hold out right now. So,
Yeah, we all need to wear a vest one day. It'll be like such an amazing, cool.
The matching up and that.
Something interesting that I saw this week, right? I watched this documentary called Out of the Shadows, right? It's a full-on conspiracy.
I look like Out of the Shadows.
Yeah, man, you probably won't, but it was around the CIA's involvement in Hollywood. So there was a lot of different things I actually learnt from this. So I think the first thing we can discuss from this is something called MK Ultra, which is how. Do you guys know it already?
Yeah.
It's about how.
Dan, have you heard about this?
I've heard about it.
Well, let's just tell the viewers what it was. So it was a top secret CIA project in trying to control human beings. They were using different drugs such as like LSD to see whether they could control the human mind.
Okay.
But tell them where the MK Ultra scientists came from.
Oh right, yeah. So that was the second part. So there's also something called Operation Paperclip. So all these scientists, right, after World War II, when the Nazis were defeated, they actually came to America. There was 1,500 of them. Nazi scientists came to America to like do all these crazy things.
Yeah.
And this isn't even a conspiracy, it's like pure facts, so
It's facts, yeah.
And before we actually continue, we should also note one thing. The word conspiracy, right, was actually also created by the CIA when who died? When JFK died, and there was all sorts of different rumors about what happened, and the CIA said, look, these are all conspiracies, they're not true. So that's something else you guys can learn today as well.
Okay.
So as soon as we start off this podcast today, it's all about conspiracy theories.
Straight up.
Straight
Yeah,
up.
I mean, have you guys seen this documentary, by the way?
Nah.
Where was it
Amazing.
released?
It was released in April 2020 this year.
Okay.
But you
Recent.
wanna
And the guy-
know something else interesting?
Oh my
When
days.
you search
Okay.
the title of this video on YouTube, right, it doesn't come up. Like you cannot.
I think they
find
changed
on
it
YouTube.
now. I think they changed
Let me
it.
test that. What is it called?
It's called Out of the Shadows.
The Shadows.
Let me Google it.
Sounds like a new Batman movie coming out.
The thing about this though is that it's not like a typical conspiracy theory documentary. It's actually from a former stuntman from Hollywood,
Yeah.
and
Right.
the way that they produced it is like fully legit. It's 4K, it's really good quality, good clips and good interviews and everything. So it's not just like Tarek in his basement creating this documentary and
Yo,
making things up. Like it's a legit documentary.
Or not?
I just googled it. The first clip is taken from Batman. Like it's legit. It's a Batman. They use Batman scenes in the actual documentary, or I just come across something?
I think you just.
No, it's nothing to do with Batman.
But I'll send the actual
Nothing.
video link on the group chat. So now if you
I've
click
just-
on it, you'll see it. Hopefully.
I've just googled it as well on YouTube, and the fact is, it should be number 1 in the listings
Yeah.
because it has 17 million views.
17 mil.
17 million, right? So the fact that it's not means that it's been hidden from YouTube. Really.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, they call that shadow banning or something like that on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Because if they take it off completely, then that's like zero free speech. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. So the interesting thing about the MK Ultra scientists though is that they know how to mind control people because they controlled the minds of Nazi Germany to make them hate a specific group of people. So then they came to the United States and they had the free reign to basically test whatever they do whatever they wanted to do to work on their mind control regimes. So they would give them LSD, they do these different techniques to basically work out how the human brain works. And then they've used these same techniques to control the minds of the human being. And they've used it in the media and in television. Because they know how powerful entertainment is to change the minds of the population. So just an example, right? You know the film James Bond? That was partly helped written by a CIA agent because they wanted to change the perception of these agents, like these double agents within the United States. So they created this whole new film series to give people the perception that, oh, look at these CIA people, they're really cool and they do this and that. Do you know what I mean? That's just one example. But where it gets really fucked up is where the people that are at the top of the chain in terms of film and documentary and these cinema companies, right? They are literally proven to be satanic. They worship the devil. There's this guy and he basically talks about how Hollywood is the devil. It really is. Even if the actors may not know it, I'm sure a lot of them do. And this isn't just conspiracy thing. I'm sure a lot of them don't know it, but even if they don't know what they're doing, it's still satanic stuff. Do you know what I mean? So you watch this and you're damn, I need to really stop watching. I mean, it's calm watching stuff, but to watch it as pure entertainment and not take it as truth, and not take it as something that you should live your life by, and not take it as something that you should. I mean, it's actually when you watch a documentary, you'll understand. I think it's important to watch it a couple of times to really understand what it means, but it's crazy. And then near the end of the documentary, they talk about Pizzagate, and they basically before watching this documentary, I was like, "Oh, Pizzagate sounds like BS." Do you know what I mean? There's no way this is true. There's no way they're using pizza as a code name to talk about molesting kids. But you watch the documentary, and what they basically say is that there is no proof and there is no evidence that to show that these Pizzagate claims are false. They haven't proved it to be false yet. There's actually a lot of evidence pointing to the fact that this is true. You know what I mean? So one of the people that works for Hillary Clinton, he literally has a history of doing loads of weird ritual cannibalistic shit with human beings. That's proper satanic. And pizza in the past has been used by pedophile gangs to basically as a code name for kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you look at these emails, they're oh, we should spend an hour eating pizza. They say things like that. And it's bruh, it's kind of fucked. And no one has looked into it. Because as soon as you look into it, they just say that you're a conspiracy theorist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one important thing to note about that. You lots of frozen now. About the pizza thing, I think once they mentioned it on the news about people reviewing the emails, which said what Jubba just said about how people were how the email said, yeah, can I get a pizza for an hour? Once they said it on the news, they were telling people that it was actually illegal to view those emails, but for them, it wasn't.
Yeah.
What?
So basically the media was saying, specifically it was Andrew Cuomo, Chris Cuomo, one of them, the CNN presenter, right? He basically said on the news, as the public, you should not be looking at these emails because they're classified and they'll release through WikiLeaks. So he was saying the public shouldn't be looking at the emails. It's we that control what you see. He literally said that on the news. He said on the news, we control what you see. You shouldn't look at it because it's illegal for you guys to look at it. He said that on the news. And it's like, he just blatantly straight up said, we control you, we control what you consume. You are not allowed to look at this stuff. It's crazy. It's literally mental. And that has been said by multiple news presenters. That you're not allowed to look at this stuff by yourself. We are the ones that filter through it, and we're the ones that are going to tell you the truth. Which is bullshit. You know what I mean? So
it just goes back to the same old thing we mentioned every single week. Television stands for tell-vision.
And they literally said that in the documentary.
Well,
and
they quoted Tarek.
They quoted Tarek. They said this is from TazManiaAhmed.
Damn.
They were like, this is from TazManiaAhmed.
Fans of the show.
Television means LA Vision. You know what I mean? So it's a crazy documentary. I'd recommend everyone to watch it. Because the thing is, you say this sort of stuff, and people who aren't in this world, they just say, you're crazy.
Yeah.
You know, stop wasting your time on this conspiracy theory shit. But like, you know, ask the questions, man. Ask the questions. You know what I mean? Don't just
What do you think we can do as like low-level commoners in civilization to really press this issue?
Mate, to be completely honest with you,
There's not
I
much.
think we're so far gone.
Mhm.
Like you're like the person that is like shouting at all the villagers, like, watch out. There's like a earthquake coming, whatever. But no one's gonna listen, bro. No one's gonna listen. You just need to get your family on the boat and paddle away and, like, you know, leave everyone else to be and see what happens. There's nothing you can do. This society is just too far gone.
Yeah, you can't really like
It's a piece of mistake.
give advice to like a whole group of people, right? You got to start with
Exactly.
a small
I mean, everyone's
group of
under the
individuals.
chart.
Yeah, it's like you talk to your family, let them know, talk to people close to you, spread the information. Well, it's hard to convince like a whole mass number of people.
Bruh, it's hard to convince your family. Do you know what I mean? People don't care about this stuff because they got better things to do.
Yeah.
People got bills to pay.
Yeah, they got bills to pay. They're not unemployed like me and Tarek. Do you know what I mean?
And I think once you talk about it in like such a public level, right, they just come after you, innit?
Yeah, legit.
Yeah.
Literally, you're gone. One day you're here, one day you're...
Next thing, the bold hitman's at your door.
Legit.
That reminded me of something, though. The CIA narrative we're doing on the bold hitman. Do we have to change it?
I'm not too sure if we got to change it.
Why do you want to change it?
Yeah, why you want to change it?
What's going on? We got like, I don't know.
My computer first, and that's what I said. What did you guys say?
We were saying, do we need to change the narrative of the bold hitman after our findings of how the CIA has been involved in Hollywood?
You know what would be a good idea?
Ah.
If you like expose what's happening, so do like Out of the Shadows documentary, like the messages that they have in Out of the Shadows, and embed them within the storyline of the bold hitman to expose the workings of it in the industry, and that will add a lot of depth to your bold hitman.
Because I was thinking it.
My 2 cents.
I was thinking it would be. I'm not sure who said it, but making I think it was probably you, Jubba, saying making it into sort of like a parody of classic agent spy tropes that we usually see, but not in the sense that it's now like a silly film or something that's not serious. Still having that that seriousness, but taken through the lens of like comedia or some like just like maybe like a bit of like an expose or
Yeah.
you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But yeah,
By the way, for all
that.
the viewers that don't know what Bold Hitman is, it's Tarek's new film, and I suggest everyone go watch Bold Hitman 1 to understand what the hell we're talking about.
The link will be down below.
because Tarek assumes that he has extremely loyal fans that has watched every single TazManiaAhmed video. But let's get to the truth of it. Let's get to the truth, right?
Let's get to the gist.
I highly doubt that there's like 1 or 2 people that watch this video right now that know what Bald Hitman is.
Because the Bald Hitman was a long time ago. But all
It was a long time
the
ago.
Bald
Exactly.
Hitman will be reborn, and he's coming back soon.
Exactly. Here's what it is.
It is what it is. But apart from
How's
that,
your?
we've talked about Out of the Shadows. What else you guys been up to this week? Anything else? We could talk about Corona again.
I make Coronas every week, innit?
Same old story every week, innit? I feel
Same old.
They're not telling us everything, mate. These daily updates, mate. I think that
I heard something. I don't know if it's a true fact or statement about how they imposed a second kind of lockdown or curfew during Eid. Was this a legit thing?
I think it was in the north of England, like 2 hours before the day of Eid. They were like, yeah, you can't go visit people's houses.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
bit of a fishy one.
But all the bars are open, yeah.
There's like high cases and stuff like that in the north of the country. So like you wake up on Friday and they basically said up north, you're not allowed to visit family and everyone needs to stay inside of basically lockdown. Which is understandable. But the thing is like we are bound to have a second wave right now. There's no doubt about it. You know what I mean? Because I went to Chelsea yesterday and it's literally lockdown's finished. Like human beings are so like short-minded, short-sighted in terms of how we think. We've completely forgot it's coronavirus season. You know what I mean? So like now everyone is out and about. And I was telling like all my family yesterday, like, guys, we need to get all our traveling in before wave 2. You know what I mean? Get it all in the next couple of weeks. Because like it's gonna come back to a point where we have to like it's complete lockdown in the gym.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to. You know what I mean? Like it's just ridiculous.
What's happening in like Spain and the countries that really had their massive peak before us? What's happening in Spain and Italy? Does anyone know?
I mean, like, so you heard about the fact that if you travel from Spain now, you have to do 2 weeks quarantine, and that's because a lot of Spain is like having increased surges of coronavirus.
Yeah.
And Spain are saying, no, it's only in a couple of areas. But the thing is, if you look at the like images of Spain right now, everyone's on the beach. There's like thousands of people. There's a lot of tourists there. So like people are just really, everyone's completely forgot about coronavirus already. So it is what it is. But the thing is, Boris Johnson recently, he did a coronavirus briefing 2 days ago. And he basically said what they want to do now is, because they're seeing the fact that coronavirus cases are increasing for the first time since May, back in the UK. So they're basically trying to figure out a new plan through which they want to make all over 50 stay indoors and everyone else work. Which, like, I mean, I don't really mind, but if you're over 50, it's kind of peak. You know what I mean? Because, like, the majority of people that are leaving the house are my age.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And, like, it's usually the older people that are more, like, responsible and they're not going out. So the fact that they have to be forced to quarantine is a bit peak, but, it is what it is. Because they're more at risk anyway.
I don't know. Glad I ain't over 50, man. I got shit to do. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what's wrong with this country.
I'm exactly what's wrong with this country. I saw that.
Yeah, carry on.
No.
Yeah, no, so I was saying, like, in the UK, we've completely forgot about coronavirus, but, like, in the other side of the world, in India, Australia,
even America,
fucking America still, and then you got South Africa, they're still on the peak, bro. Like, they're still, like, suffering through this. So, like, we're proper, like, acting like it's all calm and breezy in the UK, but, like, in other sides of the world, it's actually, like...
We just lay back.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw in Zambia, it's actually starting to get really bad. Apparently, the cases to get really high with that. So that's the thing I was always concerned about, because one thing you need to know is over here in like high income countries, at least with the health systems we have, it's not 100% certain, but we have a good idea of or a decent idea of the number of cases and mortality
Yeah.
that's going on. When I started seeing at the early stages of this whole pandemic in Africa the low number of cases that were in these countries, I was thinking, okay, that looks good, but I don't know how reliable that data is, because the surveillance systems there aren't as good as in higher income countries.
Yeah.
So it was always a case of, okay, it may be much worse than what we think over there. And even now that we're starting to see a lot more cases, we're just certain it could be a lot worse. It could be better than we think. It's just we have no idea what it's actually like over there. But
man, it's frightening. Like,
because it always comes down to the
Because I think even in those countries, like those third world countries, like not everyone can afford to go to the hospital, so those deaths aren't even registered. Like the ones that happen outside of like hospitals and things like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And another thing is with coronavirus, the way it's transmitted it's mostly through proximity or contact or style. It's more likely when you're living in like a high income country that you're in like, and you're gonna have way more contact with other people. The transmission is gonna be far higher than if you're living in some country house somewhere in Devon or something. You know, I don't know what Devon is on mine.
ALM. No, I'm joking.
What? That was like
Someone's
that
gonna
picture I saw today on the back of the car. Did you guys see the picture?
Yeah, I saw that. It said we all matter, right?
Yeah, in Buckland. I was like, I need to get a quick picture of that.
People just missed the point.
Honestly. What's been happening with the BLM protests right now at the moment?
There's still some protests going on.
It's still popping.
Yeah, there's still protests. I see a lot of people still avidly speaking out on the matters, you know, still raising awareness. I think now, the Breonna Taylor death, they've now opened up a case on it. So they've reopened the case on that, which is really good. I mean, it only took about 4 months or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's definitely still movement on it.
Yeah.
Damn,
I guess.
Yo,
I guess it's one of those.
I
guess it's one of those things, man.
Like a minute.
I think it's. Let me change it. I think it's where I am. Hold on.
Yeah. I think today's stream, I don't know what's happened to it.
Carry on, Costa. What were you saying?
Oh yeah, I think the reason why it seems like it's not really still about is because people aren't locking themselves indoors anymore. You know what I mean? People are like, oh, the pubs are open. Let's go out. You know, everyone's trying to resume their regular day-to-day lives. I think the protests really benefited from the fact that everyone was indoors in the same situations. Everyone's locked in on their screens, seeing what's going on in the world at the same time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we still got a lot of movement on it. There's a lot of people still bringing new information. People still being outspoken and raising the questions that need to be asked on such matters as race, equality, equity, all those kind of things. But you know, I saw this video of this guy. I think it was in Arkansas in America, and he's a white guy and he was holding a Black Lives Matter poster up, like on the highway, and just. It's a 4-minute montage video of people just driving by, like cussing them out and saying, "Oh, you effing this, that, another. You're white. Like you're ruining this country."
Oh my God.
Like all lives matter. You saying all lives don't matter? You're white. It's like, but no, I think I don't get how such a simple narrative can be so misconstrued.
It's because of times like this, like you realize the majority of people are dumb, and that's just the truth to the matter. Yeah, like I was researching a little bit on Aristotle.
Yeah.
and he was basically saying that he doesn't believe in democracy because he believes that the majority of people, because to make an informed decision about the leaders of a country, you need to have a certain level of wisdom, and there's a basic level of like knowledge that you need to have to understand what it takes to vote people who need to run the country correctly. And that's his point. He was saying the majority of people in society don't have that basic wisdom and that basic knowledge to know who to vote in. So now you end up with people like Donald Trump who don't know anything, and they've purely been voted in based on their marketing power and their charisma, and they actually have no good ideas for the country.
Yeah.
So like, you know, this BLM protest has just shown like the majority of people, even though on the news I think the majority of people are like backing it, I think in real life there is a different story, because you do see a lot of people talking in real life about how BLM isn't right and that how people should be staying inside, and they care more about the fact that it's coronavirus than the BLM protest. Like, they don't understand it at all. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, you know, I think it's good because it's exposing people, and you need to have times like this to really show people that they're, like, you need to like a stimulus to show people that they're wrong. You know what I mean? But it's gonna take time. Like, it's not gonna take like, it's not gonna be like you can't just do like a couple of protests and call it a day. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is like an ongoing struggle that people have to be like having to deal with throughout the next few years.
I think it's one of those things where the only way to defeat the system is with a new system that comes into place. You know, like, if you were in a system where it's predominantly run by rich white men, then you're not going to be able to shake up that system because they don't understand the experiences, what it's like to be a minority, a person that has got money, or a person of color and their struggles and whatnot. And I think that's why there's what I found interesting during these Black Lives Matter protests was there's a lot of movement for people to invest in their own local businesses. You know, people investing in black businesses. Before you go and buy Gucci, go buy your mate's local brand and things like that. Because that's, you want to change the infrastructure, you have to put money in your own pockets. Because that's how you make legislations happen. The reasons why like governments are so corrupt is because the people that are padding the pockets of these, you know, politicians are the people that have got the money to throw millions out and say, this is the legislation I want because it'll benefit me. But you want them to change something, but you ain't got no money. The politicians are going to hear, because money talks. Unfortunately, we live in a reality where money talks the most. So as a person of color, you just got to invest in yourselves as a community and bring that wealth up to make.
Well, that's why like the Jewish community have thrived so much, because they knew that from day, and they know that, and they back each other a lot. You know what I mean? And they know how the world works, and they're like a community which always support each other, and that's why they got to the position that they've come to, because they understand that money talks.
I think there's a similar thing with China as well. A similar thing with China as well. I think they've really grasped the whole, like, investing within their own communities and growing and through like building internally. I think that, and we've seen how quickly China has progressed to on the world stage as well.
Fake news.
What? Say fake? Did you say fake news?
Fake news.
Fake news. Do go on.
He's pro-America.
I'm not pro-America. I'm just not pro-China.
My name is Jubba. I lived in Maryland for a year now. I'm pro-America.
MAGA!
In Maryland. The only connection you have to Maryland is 1 year of study and a whole bunch of cookies. That's it.
4 months. 4 months.
4 months.
4 months of study.
Did you go to the
MAGA!
Maryland factory?
Huh?
Did you go to the Maryland cookies factory in Maryland?
No, I didn't actually.
I'm a bit
You
disappointed.
know what, Ty? That's my one regret in life. I didn't go to the Maryland.
I'd have a big regret if I didn't go there as well, mate.
Oh, legit,
It's where the dreams come true, mate.
Legit.
It's like, what is it, Wonderland?
You met the Willy Wonka of Maryland cookies. You had a golden ticket and everything, but lost it.
Golden ticket. Yeah, I was thinking of the Chocolate Factory, but I don't know what Wonderland is. What's Wonderland, Tarek?
Wasn't it Michael Jackson's thing? Like, he had
No.
Wonderland.
Oh shoot!
That's Neverland.
Nah, he
No,
had
Neverland.
Neverland, yeah.
Yeah.
Neverland.
Wonderland is Alice in Wonderland.
Oh yeah. Neverland.
Alright, name me a Michael Jackson song.
Huh?
Name me a
Thriller,
Michael Jackson. Miller. Give it
Uh,
up.
Huh?
Give it
I ain't
up.
doing dance.
Michael Jackson.
go on, yo, bust a move.
Alright, good.
Bust a move, Tarek.
10,000 likes and Tarek will do the Thriller
Yeah,
dance.
10,000 likes. 10,000 likes and also dye my hair blonde as well.
Oh,
That's
Oh, that'd be
still
lit.
ongoing.
And also drop some bars as
Yeah,
well.
I'll
I don't
drop some bars, 10,000 likes.
Be
Oh.
good.
There's a lot of things happening
Big
at 10,000 likes.
Yeah, we need to keep track. Because one day we won't make it to 10,000 likes.
Maybe it's
We're gonna have to do
cumulative
everything.
over across all the videos that
Yeah.
done. Like,
Wait,
since
we need to
reaches
make a
10,000 likes
montage.
across the
Yeah,
videos.
we need to make a montage of
Yeah.
everything we said will get 10,000 likes.
So once we hit it, TmacCast do it all at the same time.
Yeah.
Alright.
Imagine
That'd be like a
man.
record-breaking challenge, you know what I mean?
the 10,000 like challenge. Actually
That's
happened.
true. But the thing is, Donald Trump's banning TikTok soon anyway.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to get it done ASAP because he's.
Oh, mate, Zoom. I don't know what's going on today, fam. New meeting. Mate, I hope the stream. Oh, mate, this stream's so dead. Back again, yeah? Part 2. Insert an ad.
Part 2.
Insert an ad.
I know, mate, one day innit?
Mate, my internet's been playing up today, mate. I don't know what's going on with the live stream. I think it's been buffering.
Really?
Yeah.
That's Pete.
So I changed my Wi-Fi router. I connected to a different one. So let's see if it improves a bit now.
So, Tarek, how was your Eid?
Mate, solid, mate.
What did you do?
I woke up, went to Eid prayer, Portsmouth Central Mosque, 11 a.m. I
Shout out
came
Portsmouth
back, sat down for a bit, and then before you know it, time to go Jumma. So I went to mosque again, prayed, came back, had my Google call thing, and then went to restaurant, innit?
Solid, mate.
What
How,
about
did you
two?
do anything the next day? I just, well, I woke up, we went to the mosque,
Yeah.
and then we came back. And like the best thing about Eid, right, is like we don't really give that many presents. We're not really about that present life, like
Yeah.
white people Christmas. But what I love about Eid is just the food. Like there is so much food at home.
Yeah.
Because like my whole family's at home, and my mum makes all these desserts and all this food. And it's just you know,
Oh, man,
it's just
I
so
should've
good.
been, man.
And like I went to, and then you just go around your cousin's house, and then you know there's more food, and then you go around your other cousin's house, and you know there's more food. It's just unlimited
Yeah,
amount
yeah.
of food. But it's nice
Endless
because
food.
obviously because of coronavirus, we haven't been able to see our cousins for a very long time from other cities, and even in Portsmouth, I haven't been to anyone's house really. So Eid was a fun like an opportunity where I've had my brothers be back at home, and then we went to each other's houses, and it was really good. And like social distancing, to be completely honest, it went out the window. It went
Do
out
we
the
even
window.
have to social
We did
distance
zero.
anymore?
We did zero. Because last Eid we didn't leave the house because it was really intense, the lockdown. But this Eid we were like, fuck it, you know what I mean? Like it's too much now.
Yeah.
We just enjoyed Eid, and then whatever happens, happens, isn't
See you in 14 days' time.
it? Yeah, exactly. That's a real litmus test of what's gonna happen.
Hmm.
I was really impressed with the mosque though because
Yeah, I was
They had,
impressed as
like-
well, like, damn,
they usually have like 2 prayers for Eid, but now this year they had 4. So they spaced out the amount of people in each one, and then when you go inside, usually you put the shoes at the as soon as you walk into the mosque. you put the shoes near the door, and then when you walk out, you collect your shoes and walk out. But this time, once you reach the mosque, you take your shoes off, put it in a bag, and then put the bag next to you while you pray. And then they made social distancing lines in the mosque as well, so everyone had like 2 meters between each other. So the mosque was sick. They organized it really well.
Yo, I saw that this year they had to make a lot of changes for the pilgrimage to Mecca. What's it called?
Hajj.
Hajj. That they had to impose, like they would have to like reduce the number of people that can enter in, because obviously it usually gets loads of people going.
Yeah.
And they had to change how they do things this year.
Yeah, because you usually got like I think 2 million people circling around the Kaaba, which is the house of God in Islam. So, but this year they only had 1,000 people, and everyone that was doing it was actually from Saudi Arabia. So there was no outsiders coming in. Even 1,000 people is nothing. So like the 1,000 people that did do it, they were like extremely blessed, because to have the opportunity to walk around the Kaaba with like hardly any people around you is so good. But like, yeah, they still did it, which is good. But hopefully next year they can get loads more people to do it, because it's just unfortunate that people can't do it, because it's a really sacred part of the Islamic tradition to do it. And especially when you pay a lot of money, because the Hajj is expensive. I think for each person it's like 12 to 15 grand.
12 to 15 grand?
The whole thing, right?
15,000?
No, I'd say like 12, like...
You mean like 1,000, like...
Oh no, I think for each person it's like 3 to 4 grand. No, for each person it's like 3 grand though, right?
Yeah, like probably around that, like 3 to 4 grand.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, mate.
No, but for family,
yeah,
it's like
for
50.
family, not individually.
No, yeah, I should have said family. But still, for family, it's like 15 grand. It's a lot of money. So when you get the opportunity to do it, it's a huge blessing. But yeah, it's good. I just read an article on Daily Mail, and it's a bunch of chavs on a plane to Ibiza beating the shit out of each other because they're not wearing masks. Yeah. They didn't agree to wear a mask on the plane, so now they just have a call on the flight. I'm like, bro, why are people? Can someone please explain to me why are people so against wearing masks?
Put on the mask.
Why are they going to Spain as well? Ibiza's in Spain, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean they can do what they want in terms of traveling, but like, why the mask? What, like, please explain to me why.
It's limiting their freedom, obviously.
It's like the bare minimum as well, though. It's the bare minimum you could do. Just put on a mask. You know what I mean? It's like,
I think people just don't want to be controlled. People don't want to be controlled, regardless of whether it's like seat belts or not being allowed to text on their phone while driving. People don't, or wearing a face mask. People don't like being told what to do. You know?
You like being told what to do, Dad?
What kind of question is that? Why are you trying to turn this on me? I was so out of the blue as well. Like,
that's class interview skills by TmacastAhmed.
Yeah. You know, it had the same intensity of that guy. You see that meme when he's like, interviews like, why are you gay?
Hey! Same energy. The exact same energy. Oh dear. I guess I think it depends. If the government tells me to do something that's that's a good question, because obviously it's not only what would they say, or is it supposed to protect me? It's now coming to the narrative now is that you're protecting other people. So if you don't do it, not only are you a danger to yourself, you're a danger to other people. So it's a powerful.
Well, I recently was listening to this podcast, right, and they were saying, look, if you don't get vaccinated, you're not actually putting anyone else at risk.
Well,
you're just putting yourself at risk.
I don't know about that.
As long as you get vaccinated, then you're not putting yourself at risk and you're not putting others at risk. But if you choose not to get vaccinated, you're putting the people at risk that haven't got vaccinated.
Yeah. No. So it comes down to how many people get vaccinated. Because if enough people got vaccinated, it doesn't matter if one person doesn't get vaccinated. It's the whole idea of herd immunity. But
I mean, the thing is, a lot of people aren't leaving the house anyway because they're not getting vaccinated yet. There are some people who will only leave if they get vaccinated.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, bro, there's a lot of people that are still in lockdown. People are not. There are a lot of people, rightly so, that are taking the right move and not leaving the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I mean, in terms of vaccination, if you don't want to do it, then you do you. You know what I mean? If you die, you die. You know what I mean?
There's the side effects to the vaccines, though. Like, you never know what can happen to different people.
I know, man. I think it's a microchip.
Mate, they probably got that freaking MK Ultra LSD in that vaccine, mate.
Exactly.
Before you know, all of religions wiped in the UK, mate, and we were worshipping.
Think about it.
Think about it.
Paganism's going on.
I saw a massive thing about a group of doctors in the USA were really talking about how coronavirus is treatable by using hydrochloroquine, some sort of weird drug. And what?
Hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah, so something like that. And they were fully saying, we have been treating people, 90% of the people we've treated that have coronavirus, that have used this drug, have recovered. This thing works. And legit, everywhere it's been posted, Twitter, YouTube, it's all been shut down. If different platforms have posted the video of the group, it looked like some kind of doctors association. Everywhere where the video was posted, shut down straight up. And that's a bit concerning.
No, but the thing is, these doctors that released this news, if you look into it, right, the tests that they did there's like different levels, there's different grades of scientific tests that you can do. Right? And the top grade is, this is 100% legit, proven, this is the one. And the bottom grade is where you test a small sample of people that may not be that ill and they get cured really easily, and it's not really that much of a good test. So the test that these doctors did, right, if you look into it, they were poor tests. The doctors that did it, they're like, the clinic was a tiny clinic where the sample of customers that they'll get into the clinic was a really small sample, and none of them were extremely in danger of dying. It was a poor test for hydroxychloroquine, and they've actually done other tests where the people that have taken it were where people that have taken hydroxychloroquine have actually been harmed more than if they didn't take it.
I think the issue is.
By the way, the doctor that said that news, she's a nutter. He said, yeah, she's a nutter, because she said an impotent man, his impotency is due to the devil. So she believes in like evil spirits taking over the human being, which causes these illnesses.
That's like a whole separate issue. Yeah. But if you're going into talking about the quality of studies, the quality of studies that have been available, like the golden standard for testing an intervention or a treatment it's called a randomized control trial, and these things are extremely hard to do. If you want to know for sure that this treatment works or it can be trusted, you need a randomized control trial. And the issue is that things like this video or any other counter argument, it's difficult to be transparent about these things because a lot of these gold standards for testing procedures are difficult to do and can be costly, and the time resources that allow for them to be produced, the time resources, all that stuff, is difficult to manage. Now the thing is, are we gonna allow this doctor to say her own thing? Are we gonna allow different people to have their own opinions? Or are we gonna shut them down before we already know what's the best practice, what is the golden standard, what is going to work? Because the issue is that they're being shut down straight away, or everywhere where it's been posted is being shut down. Well, I'm not sure if that's right.
Well, no, the thing is, because hydrochloroquine has been tested a lot. Like, I'm reading this article right here, right, and it's saying that there's a lot of flaws in the analysis that they did, the doctors that were presented as information. There's a lot of flaws in the analysis. and it completely goes against the majority of tests, where it turned out the hydroxychloroquine was not good. And the reason why they got these specific doctors to represent this information is because Trump is dead set on giving people a cure, and he wants to give people a peace of mind to tell people, look, everything's okay. There is a cure. Go back to work. It's all part of the White House agenda. That's it. But I agree though. Like they should. I do not believe in Facebook and Twitter and Instagram censoring it, because at the end of the day, people need to make their own decisions up. But I think the majority of people that listen to that, they'll see it from the White House, so they'll believe it. But it's not true. It's really dangerous information that people are putting out there. And then what that leads to is you have people that don't have authorized access to hydroxychloroquine, selling it for really cheap. And then you have thousands of people being badly affected by it because it doesn't actually work. People are like selling it on the black market, and it just leads to a lot of terrible things.
Yeah.
So, but the people that share it, I don't blame them, because they're like, people at the end of the day, everyone's trying to find a cure. And that so the doctor literally said, this is the cure, but it's not. That's why he was censored. And like, he's just up to his usual shenanigans.
I guess like if you're the one that made the cure, you're gonna be like, yeah, mate, this definitely works 100%, because if you're
and you get rich as
you
well.
gotta back it, mate. There ain't no 99%. This is 100% it works. We move.
I mean, 100% is impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, it comes down again to the whole thing about education, and what people are fed. To tying slightly to what you're saying about Aristotle and democracy, but also what people believe. There's a someone who says people perish because of lack of knowledge. So if you don't know about the dangers of this thing, and you're just putting all your trust in the government, you're likely to just end up being a rabbit or a
guinea pig
or something,
Well, the thing is I'm reading this book at the moment called Neil Postman's Amusing Ourselves to Death. And basically what it talks about is with the rise of this new age media and the lesser, and people using print media a lot less, and we're consuming information through our eyes and our ears rather than through our intellect when reading something. Because when you're reading like a book or a newspaper article, you need to use your mind a lot more.
That's so true.
And that's how you gather truth. And that's how you make up your own mind about certain truths about this world and about the news. But when you're just looking at information through a screen and you listen to it, it's a lot more dumbed down. So you put a lot less intellect towards it, and then you take everything, and you're not really putting critical thinking to use. And you're just taking it, and then you just putting a really small amount of thought into it and taking it as truth. And so as these generations are going further and further along with this new age media that starts in television and radio, now it's getting to a point where the majority of people are literally retarded.
Yeah, I was. You saying that it's crazy, because I was literally saying something similar to that with my brother this week. How especially if you look into postmodernistic thought, they're very critical of traditions that really look at written word. So they say it's logocentrism, but it's basically like you were saying, texts. Things, books, things, saying how there's a massive bias towards valuing those things in society, and that it may not be the ultimate reflection of what reality is. Reality can be reflected through sight, through sound, through experience, not just eyes and ears, but also touch and feeling, and that's not always truly encaptured when you just read text. So in a sense, it's shifting away from that like logocentrism, but the shift is in something that's a bit less, that's more passive. Like you're only taking in through your ears and your eyes. You're not getting like you said, it's not really tapping into your critical reasoning. You're just, if you're just passively taking in information, that's what it is. It's passive. You're not engaging with it. You're just
you just regurgitate it at the end of the day.
Also the fact that like what you see on the news isn't really the news. It's just what they're giving to you. So all you're seeing is what they choose to show you.
Mhm.
Before the news existed, there wasn't the story of the day, which everyone cared about. That didn't exist.
I guess they
The
had like
story of
radios,
the
though, didn't
day
they? They had
is
like radios.
completely made up. Yeah, it's completely made up by other human beings. And without the news, you don't have that. So it's all just created by some random people who we assume, by the way, have the best
Interest.
have the best intentions for us, with society.
Mm.
But that's a huge assumption to make, by the way.
Mm.
They do not have the best intentions for you.
No, for
I think that's why most of these people, the future generations, need to be educated in like critical thinking,
Yeah,
because no one out here is critically analyzing things or doing their due diligence on subjects before speaking on them. It's like you always see these Instagram, Twitter or Facebook debates, and people come with the same misinformed information and fallacies over and over again. And it's like, where did you get it from? They don't know where they got it from. They got it from someone else who was on social media, and that person got it from someone else that was on social media, and so on and so forth. Who read the book? Who did the research?
No,
Did you do it yourself?
Yeah. I remember I was watching a video on YouTube, but it was a guy who was talking about like controversial books. So talking about like the Communist Manifesto and like Mao's red or green book, whatever color it is, and different things like that. And at the end of the video, he was like, "You guys have no idea whether whatever I've been saying in this video is actually true. You have no idea whether I've actually read these books, whether I've just made it all up, because you yourself have not actually read the book. What you're most likely to have done is to go on Google, look up a summary of these books, and still you have not read or know what you're talking about in reference to these books." And that's the stage that most of us are at. We want to have at least like a decent understanding where we can mention it in conversation
level,
but we have no deep understanding of many of the concepts that are used or are passed around.
It's dangerous though, because it's gone from, when you read a newspaper or a book, you're not necessarily reading it to be really entertained. You're reading it because you want to understand and have more knowledge, and it's not necessarily the most entertaining thing. But with television and YouTube and the internet, the main objective for the majority of human beings is to entertain themselves.
Yeah.
If something isn't entertaining, they don't want to watch it. And the most entertaining thing isn't necessarily the most informational.
Mm-hmm.
So like what Neil Postman argues in this, he says, I'll quote, "Television," he argues, "has taken the place of the printed word as the center of our culture, and in doing so has trivialized the once serious and coherent discussion of all public affairs." And then even political and religious leaders today depend more on camera angles and showmanship than on reason and rhetoric.
True say.
And we wrote this in the 1980s.
I would have thought you wrote that this year.
Legit thing. I was thinking that as well. I thought it was recent.
Legit. But the thing is, he wrote this at the time of Ronald Reagan, and Ronald Reagan was a former actor. So this
Was
Yeah.
he the president?
Yeah.
The parallels between Trump and Reagan is ridiculous, honestly. Like Reagan was fully a Hollywood actor, and then became president.
That means I can be the future prime minister of freaking England.
Who knows?
We have a YouTuber in politics one day. Yeah.
Really?
It's like, but there's the scary thing about all this information era that we're in. It's so quick to access. It's fast food. But the scariest thing about it, as you're saying, there's no one's going to the physical formatting to actually discover this information. My fear is that in future generations, no one's going to be. Books will eventually become obsolete. Maybe not completely 100% obsolete, but something will happen where no one is actually looking at books. They're not being printed. Like your family will have a family heirloom of flipping Harry Potter, the Goblet of Fire or something, and like everyone will come over to visit and say, "Wow, you've got a real book."
It's the original copy.
You know what I mean? And future generations will get so easily manipulated because there'll be nothing physically to look into. They can just rewrite history, digitize it. They can make Nelson Mandela be a white man, and they'll say Nelson Mandela was a guy that was a white guy that changed apartheid. You know what I mean? That's how it will be so easy to rewrite history.
They could actually do that though. Like you just have to change everything on the internet, wipe out all the books.
Exactly that.
Damn.
Yeah. No, but
I think that's where we're going, man.
Out the books.
Hmm?
Because no one reads books in the first place. They
Yeah.
didn't. No one is going to read them anyway.
Yeah. I think that's what happened in the Dark Ages, because I think information was passed through word of mouth, always. It was word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouth. And then eventually books came about. And imagine every book that you read was a lie. Everything that we believe to be fact was a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because that was the main formatting to like people to access, everyone shift to getting books. And remember, people couldn't read before. Women couldn't read. Like women weren't allowed to read. You know, there was a very set few of elite people that had access to information and were regurgitating it. And that's the same way with our television and media, as you were saying before, and how they tell us what we want to know. So it's not that we're illiterate, it's that we just in a different consumer mindset. We choose to not want to know this information. We just choose to act like we know this information.
Yeah, because we're just flooded by so much information that, you know, we don't even think about it twice anymore. We're just trying to entertain ourselves to get through the day. It's like, know that there's this Orwell and his Orwellian future. Like, his nightmare was the fact that, like, Big Brother was taking over and that all of the information is going to be censored and we'll only be given what they want to show us. But like,
we're in these times.
What's happening, isn't it?
No, but there's another guy called Aldous Huxley, right? And he warns of something completely different. But this book argues that actually Huxley's vision is coming true more than the Orwellian Big Brother nightmare, right? I just want to read you this passage from his book, right? So Orwell warns that we will be overcome by an externally imposed oppression. But in Huxley's vision, no Big Brother is required to deprive people of their autonomy, maturity, and history. As he saw it, people will come to love their oppression, to adore their technologies that undo their capacities to think. What Orwell feared were those who would ban books, but Huxley feared was that there will be no reason to ban a book, for there will be no one who wanted to read one in the first place. Orwell feared those who would deprive us of information. Huxley feared those who would give us so much that we would be reduced to passivity and egoism. Orwell feared that the truth will be concealed from us. Huxley feared that the truth will be drowned in the sea of irrelevance. Orwell feared that we'll become a captive culture. Huxley feared that we will become a trivial culture, preoccupied with some equivalent of the Feelies, the orgy porgy, and the centrifugal bumble pub. Exactly.
That's the scariest thing. That is so accurate.
That book was published in the 80s.
Yes.
Yo, was it published in 1984? It'll be mad if it's published in 1984.
What happened in 1984?
Actually, Brave New World came out in 1984.
Yeah.
And he says they are controlled by inflicting pleasure. In short, Orwell feared that what we hate will ruin us. Huxley feared that what we love will ruin us.
So they're opposite.
So Huxley completely like predicted this is all going to happen. Yeah, completely predicted it. And like what he said, like what I just read out, the passage that I just read out, is exactly what's happening today. I read it and it blew my fucking mind. It's sensible, mate.
Yo, I need to read that book.
Yeah, mate, I recommend it. It's really good.
Yo, we should start doing a reading list for this channel. I
said to Tarek the other day, look, we should do like a section on books. And I was like, you know what, Jubba, that's a good idea, but I don't read books.
I don't read books either. Me too, Tarek. We're in this together. I'm with you.
We can chat about it, mate, but we're part of the problem.
But at least we're woke.
Yeah, we're woke. We're woke. That's what matters. We don't read, but we're woke.
Yeah.
Yo, why does Jubba look like Mr. Robot? Have you guys seen that show, Mr. Robot?
I've given up on TV.
I'm aware of it, yeah.
That's what Jubba looks like right now.
I look like I've been stuck in the basement for 25 years, like going crazy.
He's got red string linked up on his map. He's got one of them conspiracy theory rooms with like paper cutouts of newspaper articles.
From like
Man has had no sleep.
That's why his room's so dark as well.
He's like, I see it. It's coming together now. I just need more time.
Oh my god, it's so true. We're living in the Matrix, bro.
Matrix.
Thanks, man. You know, it's predictive programming is real. Every bit of media that you see is there's a reason behind it. You know, to television, to movies, they prepare us for what's going on or what will happen. And I watched certain things. Like I was watching the Divergent series. I was like, oh, that's kind of profound. It's like when stuff is so based in realism, but it's not too far. Science fiction doesn't seem that far-fetched to me anymore. I think that's why I kind of like it at the same time.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
It's
It's
just it doesn't sound far-fetched.
The themes that they've got going on, like, especially with these dystopian future movies, and then they set the premise of why it got to that point, like, your Hunger Games and Matrixes and Divergent, like these are all, they talk about real, it's based in realism, but just on steroids. You know what I mean?
How do people do that, though?
Why?
No, like how? How do they do this?
Man, I don't know. I think when you got the because it comes from Hollywood again. Hollywood is the devil. Hollywood's got an agenda to portray certain things. Whatever you wonder, if you wonder what's wrong with today's youth, is not because of what happened right now. It's what they were saying to us 5 years prior or 10 years ago. The things that they try and normalize and set through the music, through the culture of the television and media. And I think when a lot of these directors, all these corrupt people up in high power and high places, they've got padded pockets based on the fact that they are putting out messages, your subliminals or your non-subliminals, of what they want to do, what the next step is for this world order that they've got going on to control the masses. Or not even just to control the masses, to just subtly influence them. You know what I mean?
Maybe they just, I just thought about this, right? And maybe they just experiment with shit. And they just see what people like.
Yeah,
and
what stick?
Like, the global audience loves this. Let's give them more of this. Let's make it more. Let's make it more stimulating.
Exactly that.
And then fucking do that. And so the overarching goal behind all of this is money. At the end of the day, they're just going to keep pumping this out because it's giving them income and it gives them more power. And at the end, but the thing is it's a society that is egging them on because we're consuming it. So why would they not give it to us? You know what I mean? And then in a secular society, there are no like limits to what they can do. They can literally do anything. Do you know what I mean? As long as they make money and as long as everyone's taking it, and as long as people are happy to consume it, is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think in terms of music and television, I think the best examples to why generations act a certain way they do is like, why is there a lot of young teenage pregnancies? Why there's an issue of people being sexually promiscuous or not being in committed relationships? Why there's a lot of people that are having kids but no actual life partners or before marriage? And you look at your shows, which a lot of these youth have grown up watching, your Geordie Shores, your Love Islands, stuff which are just programming young, impressionable kids. Because most of the people that watch Love Island, I was watching, we've got over 18 people watching it. There's 15-year-old girls and 14-year-old lads watching it. And they think, oh, you got off that person this week. They tune in, they see, oh, that person got this person on that day. But the next day, they slept with each other, but the next day they broke up. So now he's with the next person. And it's just like showing kids that that's normal. Like, you can do that. And you wonder why the youth are doing all this on a regular basis. Or like with music, why is music, we went through a stage where you see all these rappers are ODing, right, on drugs.
Yeah.
Right? It's because they're fiends. Like, they're vulnerable people. They're not even saying anything really positive. most of like when we went through that phase of like your little pumps and whatnot, your coloured, your purple haired, dreaded SoundCloud rappers, yeah, were coming up saying we're popping leans, we're doing zannies, I'm shooting. And you got all these youths thinking, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. You know what I mean? And they look up to these people, but they'll take the most absolute poison, mind rotting stuff, throw money at it. That's what the industry does. They'll throw money on it and propel it onto a platform. Yeah. They'll get fucked over. They die. They lose their money. Who cares? Because there's so many of those around. But it's hard for a positive message to be given that much regard. Why is it the so basic, the bare minimal word that anyone can say is the one which we glorify, or the standards which are anyone can do with ease, which will negate your self-worth, is something that we glorify through television and media.
Yeah. So it's a cycle though, isn't it? Like, as we talked about earlier, this new media is reducing the intellects of other people, of society. And then through intellects, they're looking up to people in the entertainment industry who don't know shit and who are making these songs. And they're looking up to them as idols. Yeah. And then that in turn leads to a society of people who are looking up to the wrong people, who are shallow, empty-minded,
sheep.
And then it's just an ongoing cycle where people are looking up to the wrong people. The media are feeding the bullshit, and there's no one stopping it. And then now you've got a society that we have now, and who knows what's going to happen in the future? Really?
Yeah. TV, man. TV. It's like, you know what? It's like you get to a certain point where you start asking yourself why they do certain adverts in a certain way. Like, you'll be watching the most mundane adverts. Like, it could be like you'd be watching an advert for food or skincare product. But what I start to notice, if there's a female in the ad, it could be a skincare product or whatever, or shit, making salad, could be M&S, I don't care. You notice the camera angle is coming from behind for showing their behind for a prolonged sort of time. And then like the slogan will be like a type of innuendo of sorts or whatnot. And you're like, I have to sit there and think, like, was that really necessary? I thought it was a skincare ad. Why are they showing so much?
All fully intentional as well. Like,
it is.
Even if you think of like these massive films that have so much money invested into them, they scrutinize and go over every single scene. Every single shot that you see in that film is there intentionally. So if you do see something that's like, that's a bit suspicious, why is that there? It's there for a reason. It's fully there for a reason.
Everything is there for a purpose. I mean, it comes down to the fact that sex sells, isn't it?
It does, yeah.
And it appeals to the animalistic nature of the human being. Because they say that when a man gets a boner, 2/3 of his intellect disappear.
2/3.
You mean that? Is that real?
No, it's a book that I read. Al-Ghazali said it. Al-Ghazali is a Islamic scholar from years ago. And he basically said the reason why, out of all the desires of the human being, that is sex, that tends to affect the majority of people the most, is because it's the strongest desire. Out of everything, it's the strongest one. And the reason that it's the strongest one is it literally forces the human being to reproduce. It's literally God's way to tell you.
Over the species, you get me?
Yeah, exactly. To carry on the blood.
Yeah, but that makes sense. Like, that sort of like makes sense if like blood is being redirected to that area of your body. That means there's not as much blood going to your brain. So it does make sense in a way.
I was actually saying to continue the bloodline, but you can also say that.
You know what? I feel sorry for them people. Yeah, they're the last of their name, their family name. They have no kids. They just failed. They just failed to continue the lineage.
The line ended.
It's just done. There's no
I'm
more after
laughing
that.
about that because, like, who knows what's gonna happen to us in the future? I'll keep my karma clear, bro. Fuck that.
Okay,
Bro, I'm gonna have-
true. We could
I'm
at the end.
gonna have kids, bro. Like I'm gonna have children. Sure. Ain't no stopping me. At the end of the world could come and be like, yo, man, listen, hold up.
Hold up.
You do that over there. I'm gonna be right here doing my thing. Straight up. Don't wait for nobody. That you know what? I
the fourth in it now or third?
it would be the fourth. It would be and it would be a junior.
Oh, that's
Yeah. But I don't think I would. As much as my ego would like me to.
Why not?
I better sit there think of trying to create a name which I like.
Your name like John.
I said a creative name. I said a creative name.
Tarek said he's gonna name his son Tarek.
Wow. I wouldn't be surprised. But
Call it
do you
Tarek Part 2.
guys ever do the thing where you come across like a nice name? Where you come across like a really nice sounding name and think, oh, if I have a kid, that'll be like a name I'd use. I do that all the time.
I do that, man. I take note.
I like the name Mahalia. There's the singer, like she's called the queen of gospel.
What's the name?
Mahalia Jackson. She was like Martin Luther
That's
King's favorite artist or something. I've always thought that's a really nice name.
Gorgeous name.
Well, do you know Mahalia is actually a Muslim girl name? An Arabic originated name with multiple meanings.
It did sound Arabic.
Did you just get on Google that quick?
Affection.
Man, I'm telling you, this guy's in his basement. He's got about like 5 screens in front of him.
There's less than a minute left on the call.
Oh yeah, less than a minute. Might as well end the call here then, boys. Thank you all for coming on for episode 9 of Tmacast. Been a pleasure as always. And just to answer the title of the video, which is CIA conspiracies, fact or fiction, we are saying fact. They're all real. Area 51's real. There's probably aliens in Mars. And I wouldn't be surprised if an alien comes along next year and comes as high to us. So yeah.
Yo, UFOs have fully been confirmed to exist.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's a new
Like,
thing.
you know,
Oh, they're here.
But guys, be sure to
At the end of the
like,
day, it's important to tell your subscribers this: we know nothing. None of this is fact. This is all
It's not
conspiracy.
fact.
We do know nothing.
No, there are some facts out there that we've already gone through.
You read a book.
Just chat shit.
Alright, peace.
Peace.